I am Ann-Peggy Divine. Welcome to the Divine Design, the podcast where we unfold heaven on earth and reframe spirituality and theology for a new cosmic era. Your journey on human evolution and integration of your divine design starts here. Welcome to this Divine Design podcast, the last podcast in 2025. And my intuition told me that this podcast I should talk by myself, and I will talk about what life is for and the act of choosing what we are for. And before I go directly into this topic, I hope you have had an amazing Christmas, and it is just some few days and then we are in 2026. And what me and my family have done, we have really had an amazing Christmas, and I just kind of how privileged I am. And this year we have started a new game. We used to play board game, and my kids that are adult, they bought the Secret Hitler. It is the fascist against the liberals, and you pair up and you try to find out who is Hitler and the fascist and who is the liberal. And it is so fun, and we have had such an amazing time for 4 to 5 hours each day since 22nd of December. We have played this game every evening. So yeah, we love it. We think it is so fun. And so this is what we have started this year. Every year we have a tradition to play games, kind of to connect, and connecting with games, it is amazing way to connect with your family, because you pair up and you see different sides, and some in my family is such good liars. Me also, I thought I was a good liar, but I was before, when I was in my personality, I think I was better to to lie to, because you go into a role. But I think it's harder now. I don't know why. So most people, when they go into this kind of games, they want to be the bad guy, because it's more funny to play the bad guy. But I actually like to play the nice guy. Earlier when I started it, we started it actually in 2010. So it is 15 years since we started it. And then we started it in the community where we live. So a lot of family went together and we played this. Then we played Vareulv. And it's almost the same as Sacred Hitler, because you pair up and it's the werewolf against the village. And you get to know your neighbor in another way, and someone took it personal. So when we met them in the ordinary, it was a few, they actually send you eyes and kind of, because they took the game so literally. And this was also fascinating, and it is a good way of learning to understand the psychology of us through games. So I think it's fascinating to play game with people. Can we distinguish between the ordinary, the reality that we kind of say that this is reality, even though we created this also, but then we play games and kind of oh, I think you did that. You kind of, everything come out of us, and we guess, and we killed that. We in the game, of course. But then when you come to the ordinary level, oh, you no, did this and that, and it's like yeah, it was fascinating. I learned so much because what I have been, this podcast is what are we for. Since I was a child, I was for humanity, and we can say, if you go to the essence of us, all of us are for humanity. But I was kind of more deeply interested in how we function, because when I was 5 years and very small, it's like, why are a lot of people sick and someone are healthy all the time? So this was kind of a background I came from as a child. I wanted to understand why someone was so much sick and someone was healthy, and kind of it looks like they were heaven on earth from birth. And I was very sick, but I was programmed sick. Actually, I was born sick. I was born with a heart defect, so I had a hole in my heart between the left and the right hemisphere. So it's like, so I was very sick the first 1.5 year. But after that, yeah, I had what I call habitat disease. And habitat disease, it is the disease we get from our surroundings. So I had surroundings that lived with a lot of fear pattern, as a lot of us understand that if we have parents and if we have extended family, kindergarten and school that have are really restricted in their being because they have learned from their parents that you have to behave in a certain way and you hold back so much, then children feel it. So I was in a lot of surrounding that you have to be in one way, and this didn't fit my system because I was highly sensitive. I sensed the energy system. And what I'm talking about now, it is the new human, because the new babies function the same as me. They sense parents, they sense teachers, they sense all their surroundings. So even though you want to teach something to the new kids, they will reject you if they feel that you in yourself is not in synchronized or are harmony. You are in harmony. So the biggest task for us as parents and as teacher and the surroundings of new kids is to come in coherence, to come in balance. So this is what I'm for. So I had this since I was a child, and I healed people as a child, and my mother think it was an embarrassing thing because a lot of people came to me as a kid and they gave me money because they felt my field, and they came in balance just by surrounding me. And a lot of kids have this, that being around kids is like, oh, you love being around kids because you are activating. They hold the big field, the creational field, the monad field. So but then what it also, you kind of shed the shadow side, and my mother didn't like that I did that. So she said, no, don't do it. So my surroundings and my mother think it was embarrassed that so many people came, and also I chose mother and father that had a lot of stuff, like a lot of people my age have chosen, because almost 99.99999 of the surroundings in the beginning of the 1970s when I was born had stuff or pattern. We were programmed from First World War, Second World War, and all this poverty, so much poverty. Even though living in Norway, yes, we have experienced poverty big time. My mother have actually told my children that we were so poor. We lived in a very small room. I think it was 12 square meters, and the child protective service came. Even then, it wasn't like it is today, because today it's kind of more strict, and it's a, can't you find another way? Because I was sick, I had eye troubles, I have heart disease, and yeah, it was very bad condition, and they had very little money, my mother and father, when they delivered me. So they were young and in the beginning of life, like most are. So most of us come from poverty, even in Norway. And I know it is kind of a thought, a general thought, oh, in Norway there are so much money. Yeah, we have built up a good system, but at 90% of the people is kind of, they are in this loop. We have to have money, or maybe more. I won't go into that. So back to what I was supposed to talk about, even though all of this is connected. What are you for? I have worked in health industry for several years, and I met so much dogma, so much system that really harmed the client and the patient, and this frustrated me. And in 2013, I reached an enough point, and I thought, this is so crazy. And I took my own hands into things, and I stretched myself much longer than the system, because the system said no, 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 and I couldn't live with myself rejecting, and seeing all the horror that the system made. So I went above, and I took things in my own hands. And it was hard on me, and it also was hard on my family, because this also led us into mafia. I worked with people that really was in environment with crime and addiction and the what we call the negative kind of, or the hard environment. So I interfere with that, and so we also get the mafia on us, or we contacted the mafia. And even though living in Norway, I didn't believe that mafia was in Norway in that sense, because I'm naive, and I choose to be naive, because a lot of people think that naivety is something weakness. But naivety is positive, because it means that you have an open heart. You believe the best in people. So I have chosen to be naive. But at the same time, I know the shadow side of being naive. You can be very hurt. And so it's not that I don't know that it is mafia, and it is a darker force that really wants to harm us, kind of. And that's what I experienced from 13 to 2016. But in summer of 2013, I said to the universe, kind of in frustration, I want to change the system. I cannot live with this craziness. So it's kind of, help me. I want to change the system. And so I actually, what I did, even though I kind of didn't believe it in the biggest extent, I said, I am for changing the system. Give it to me, kind of. I was a Gestalt therapist, and I work as a therapist and also as a social worker. I was in institution and health system. And when I said this, I kind of saw, I had a vision during this time, and it was so bright, and it was so amazing. I actually saw that I changed the system, but I didn't believe it, because it was like I was in my old programming, and I couldn't see that this could happen, kind of living heaven on earth, because this was what I saw, heaven on earth. And it was kind of, it felt like a wishful thinking. I wish it was true, but I couldn't believe it. And what happened when I just have said, yes, I am for changing the system. I want to change the system. What happened just 2 weeks afterward, I think it's like, wow. I went on a pilgrimage. This was planned. So I had planned this pilgrimage for maybe half year before. So I reached this kind of enough point a couple of weeks before this pilgrimage with several women. And this pilgrimage was kind of an initiation to the dark night of the soul, and my program, my starting to dissolve, starting to die. And I looked so forward to this pilgrimage and thought it will be just fantastic, walking and going inward. Yes, it was, but it was, wow, it was hard, because I was bullied. I was bullied for 2 weeks, and they said so many mean things, and I was the youngest one. All the other one was older than me. They were grandmothers, and all their shadow side, they threw it at me. So, and I hadn't, even though, yes, I had worked with similar thing, but not being in a group, only us, and I was kind of put down, really hold down, big time. And it was actually the leader of this group that opened it, because she was a spiritual person. So I was in a spiritual community. I have started to go into that. And she wanted us to look up to her. She wanted to be on a pedestal. And since I was a child, I have never seen anyone in a pedestal. That's not completely true, but because actually I saw my husband a little bit on the pedestal. So that's what I say, it's not completely. But I wanted to see the equalness in everything. Even though I adored people, I didn't put them so much on a pedestal. But this leader in this pilgrimage group, she wanted me to put her in a pedestal, and I couldn't. It was like, well, I know that even though I hadn't the best self-esteem, it was like, I know that all of us have gifts. So since I didn't put her in a pedestal, she started to bully me. She started to see mean thing to me. And when the leader opened for that, all the other kind of jump on it and did it, all except one. So I had one that supported me in the background because she saw the craziness, but she didn't dare to stand up for me because she said, if I stand up for you, they will do the same with me. I'm so afraid they will do it. But just having her in the background, and we whispered, she talked to me when they didn't see it too much. And that was very helpful. But I tried to break out of the group because I cried and I think it was hard and this wasn't what I planned. But then it came something through me when I was supposed to leave the group. It was like I had a download or another activation in me, and it was like, I will really see how bad people are capable of treating people. So it came a new force in me. It's like, I will stay in this, and just I know that this is an experiment, and so I hold it out for the last week and say how bad it can be. And I don't want to go into detail because I know these people. But it is, and it's like we have experience on people, and all of us can be pushed there kind of. So if we have pattern that we want to be in a pedestal, yes, we can really hold others down to us being the light. So I learned a lot through this 2 week of pilgrimage and be holding down, and all what they said to me, I was ugly and all the clothes I wear was wrong, and I had to go back and I couldn't sit next to it was so cruel. But I'm glad today. As I say, life is for us, and I learned so much about myself and about others through this experiment, even though I thought that pilgrimage should be in another way because I had some pre-thoughts about it. This was perfect because it was an initiation to what met me afterwards, because my ego started to dissolve. So I was starting my ego death, so the dark night of the soul, even though I didn't know it. Because when I said yes to bring the new system, it's like I saw it, but I couldn't, since I saw it from my program. It was like, it is a totally different perception, totally different way of living. So it is a different state of being. So I was in my ordinary state, and I saw the new state, but I saw the new state from the old state. So that's why I couldn't believe it. So if I have seen it and gone into it, and actually I had done it. So now I'm going back to 2008, because in 2008 I had my first kind of epiphany, and it was so big, and it was kind of, I couldn't understand it, because I have all my adult life walked on mountain. I love walking on mountain. It's kind of me. I am mountain. It's nature. So this is kind of modern nature, and mountain is like we live in an area with mountain everywhere. So I have walked on mountains every day. And one day, like I have done every day, I was on the mountain and I started to running down because I had so much energy. It's like a, and when I walked down the mountain, I had a big epiphany, and something opened in me, and suddenly I was God. And this was from a perspective, I was not religious, I was not into something religious at all, but I was kind of the creator of all. I felt everything, and it was so much light, and I started to cry, and it was like everything. I was everything. I cried happy tears. It was so enormous, and it was like I was everything. I was source. And I was put into a state. I was put into heaven on earth, and I had no vocabulary about this. It's like, what is this? So it was like I cracked open, and what's this bigness? And what is this bigness? I was in it for I lost time. I was in. We can also call it the 0 point, the the creational soup, the God source, the monad, the original point. So I was in this, and I have no idea how long I was in it, but I just was in awe, and I cried, and all emotion came, and what is this? So it felt also like I was the sun. It felt like I was the sun. I radiated. I had all the source. I had all the power in the world, and I could feel everything. So it was like everything. I was everything. So this was the first time in my adult life that I really felt a big epiphany. I had millions almost, or I have had thousands of epiphanies, but this one was the biggest I had experienced in my adult life. And at that time, in 2008, I was the mother of 5 kids and very hectic. So I didn't do anything about it. I just experienced it, and then I continue my kind of programmed life, because I had to be there for my children. I have to be there for my husband, for the school system, everything. You people know what I'm talking about when you are a role, and I just had to be there. But I thought about it, even though I hadn't time to go deep into it. So in 2013, when I had this vision, I wasn't in this epiphany. It was with me in my 3-dimensional beings, like saying, yes, I want to be the change. I want to bring the new system, and didn't know how to do it. And I didn't know that I then will go for 6 years to the dark night of the soul, because that was happened. And going to the dark night of the soul, and also we call the dark night of the soul is also called the hero's journey. So it was a hero's journey. And when I say 6 years, it wasn't exactly 6 years, because it was 3.5 first, and then I had kind of I relaxed for a half year, and then 1.5 year more. So it was midst in it, I could kind of breathe, because when it started, it was so much. I couldn't process it. It was extreme. It's so much. And from 2013 to 2016, when the mafia threatened us, and my life collapsed, I lost my programming, and I had new downloads, and it's what do I trust it? I did. That's why I trusted all the downloads and all the insight and future vision, because that was the only thing I could rely on. Because the mafia threatening us, I was so afraid. I was so afraid, because also, since I am naive, it can't be. I'm living in Norway. This can't be happening. So I was so afraid of them. I tried to escape them. But I couldn't, because they was in the computer. They was in my phone. They followed me when I was at work. So it was like, it can't be real. So they followed me physical, and also through the computer. And this, I hadn't heard about Snowden, the man who said that people use digital, and also digital to follow people and to threaten them and all this. So I didn't know that not a lot of people, but the criminals and mafia and all this, I didn't know that this was common, but I learned it. So when I'm talking about that, most people, when they go into stuff, they read about it, and then they want to experience it. This is kind of the model that we have learned at school, and that we read about it, then we want to do it, have an experience. But what I have done in life is the total opposite. I have experienced it, and afterward I read about it. Oh, it is a theory for it. So I have experienced a lot, and then when after going through it, I see, oh, it is a theory. It's kind of a common, because living as human, it is a common foundation. So that's why we have theory. So, but I haven't known about a lot of this theory. So I experienced it before first, and then I read the theory. And from 1993 to 2013, the 20 years before I kind of went into this dark night of the soul, I was in survival, because my kids were sick and in and out of the hospital. And I will not go into that journey, but for 20 years, I didn't do anything that just tried to protect my family, work, money, be there for my family in all the way I knew. And then in 2013, my ego and the way I did it start to collapse. So I thought for a period from 2013 to 2016 that the mafia threatened me and my family. I thought that was horror. And people say, why didn't you go to the police? Well, as we have known afterwards, the police are co-create with mafia also. So some of the people in the police actually was in the mafia, and they put me and my husband against each other. And I will just share one thing, because it was so many. It was for 3 years, so it was kind of crazy. I thought this is only what you see in movies, horror movies, and it happens to our family. And one time they put me and my husband up against each other. My husband decided I will drive to the place that the mafia called him. And also, why telling this story, even though we turned off our phone, they could call us through our phone turned off. So this was also crazy. I thought I learned so much, but it was hard learn. It was pain. And they called him and they said, no, Ann-Peggy is taking this and she is doing this and this. And no. And he didn't believe that I was doing what they put us against. And he turned the car and wanted to drive to the place they said things were happening. And then he speeded up. he drive a little bit fast, and and then the police said that he speeded up, so it was police out of the street, and they stopped him and they said, okay, you drove so fast that we need to take your license. And then the police called in to the headquarters or whatever. I don't know the totally behind the scenes, but they called, we have a man that really speeded up. And then the control center said, well, he is in service undercover. And why did they say that he was in service undercover? Because they blackmailed us for several thousand. I didn't know it, because my husband holded that from me, because he knew that I will never buy into this mafia. I would rather go to prison, and I'm stubborn that. So he knew how I would react, so he tried to cope with his masculine way and I with my feminine. So they blackmailed us big time, and they said you can take up we laundered money from the bank, because they knew how to trick the system. They know everything about us, all the documents on the doctors, every document that we say are kind of no one can go into it. It's so protected. It is secured. If you go to hospital, and all the documents that are in the state, we said, oh, it's so secure, no one can hack it. Bullshit. They can hack everything. If you are a good mafia and you can hack everything. So they knew all the system in Norway, and they knew how to hack it. So they said, you have to go to the bank and you have to take out money in our name, and they know how to do it. So we get a big mortgage, because we had to take out money and give to them. Yeah, to put it simple. But he speeded up, and they said he is in service, because if he got his license taken, they couldn't blackmail him anymore. So this was one of millions, so I won't go into it, because I just want to take because it's when you are in its fear, and you think it's crazy, you can take, this is not for me. The life is not happening for me. Yes, all of this was for me. I learned so much about the mafia, the dark side, and how the dark, what we now see that even in the government, and we have a case in Norway that really they are tried to depressed very much since 2019, and it's a very, very grotesque, it's a very ugly case. We call it the Shadia case, and Shadia became 16 years, and she was murdered 16 years adult. They used her for prostitution. They violated her, sexual abuse, and she was in an institution, and the government is involved, and we have two big kind of media company in Norway, NRK and TV2. None of them want to take in this case, and not lawyers, no one want to touch this, because it is so, on the top are involved, money are involved, and it is so dirty. So when we was in this from 2013 to 2016, the people in Norway haven't waken up, so they didn't believe us. If I told people that mafia was after us, they laugh. So they saw me as I was paranoid. So I had also in the paper on me I was paranoid, because I thought that mafia, I knew that mafia was in our life. So all this, yes, it gave me so deep knowledge, because what the mafia actually did, they helped me big time, even though I didn't know it. I just wanted to cry, and I remember, I don't want to live, I think this is crazy, I hate life, I hate everything. Not hate, no, I hated them. So it's like I really felt they brought out the worst in me, and that was their mission, because that was for me. If I should come in balance, I had to face all what I had accumulated from people from I was a child, hate, anger, and all emotion they brought up in me, the emotion I didn't want to feel. And the last emotion I didn't want to feel was anger, because I had an angry father, and when I was a child, I said to myself, I never want to be angry. I was afraid of the anger my father had, because we had patriarchy in our family, and it was horror. It was mental horror. It's not completely true, but it was mostly mental horror. So I was afraid of anger. But the last piece that the mafia actually pushed me to, it was the anger I had inside. And I was so angry for several days. I roared, and I shouted, and I used all my body, and I was on the mountain just wow. I was so angry, and I was kind of for 3 days, and I was alone a place, and so I could get the anger out. I was 3 days alone. I was on mountain. So I needed to face the anger, and after 3 days being so angry, all the anger just came off to the surface. I met so much love, unconditional love, and I thought, wow. So this was the last kind of layer that holded me back to come in balance. But that was the last layer in this life, because what it also opened, I had already gone into past life. Some future life. Yes, actually some future life, but most past life. But after this, going through all this anger, then the door for past and future opened even more. And it came so much, and I had so much body symptoms that wasn't from this life, because the mafia actually, since they pushed me so into all the pattern that I had in this life, the programmed mind in this life, and it came up. When that kind of come into imbalance, what happened then a door opened in my life to experience past life and future life. And then I had understood more and more. So I have walked the path. And all this is linked to the new system. I couldn't have spoken about the new system if I didn't know how corruption, manipulation, and mafia and all this darkness, because I would not believe it until 2013. If people have told me this, I said, no, you are lying. And I remember people said, when you describe it, it is so extreme, we cannot believe you. It is so extreme. And yes, I have paper on me that I am I'm paranoid. I am paranoid. So, and also working in the psychiatry, and a lot of people that have this paper, I met several of them that actually talk the truth, and they had mafia. So I have also written that in the health Bible, about several stories that are in the psychiatry, and one of the men actually, he told me his story and he said, no one have ever believed me before you. And I will tell you another thing, when I come out of this psychiatry treatment, the mafia will kill me. And he was killed after he came out. So yes, it is true story, but we just say that they are crazy, so we kind of put it under the surface. But all this is now coming up. That's why I talk about it, and I haven't pre-planned to talk about all this. My agenda was to say, what am I for? So when you say what you are for, maybe it get a little bit turbulent, like you have heard in my life. It was very turbulent. It was crazy. And in the midst of it, from 2013 to 2016, in 2015, our oldest son committed suicide. So he committed suicide, and I won't go into that story because he did it in affect after his girlfriend broke up, and he was such in pain. His heart was broken, and the last thing he did, he sent her a message, I love you, and then he hanged himself. So 2 days after the funeral, the mafia started to threaten us again. So this 3 year, it was crazy, and I was in such big grief from summer 2015 to 2016. So all this also happened in the dark night of the soul. And I will not say that Alexander, my son, life was for me, but I perceive his life in another way. He has another life. I have met his biological mother, even though he don't live with his biological mother. And he is a child, and Christmas Eve, I sent him a lot of good thoughts, and I saw that he had a lot of cars and a lot of games in his new family, and he have chosen a family. I wouldn't have chosen that family, but I understand why he chose that family, because he have gone together with another soul. Both of them commit suicide, so their frequency and their vibration was at the same. So they said yes to go into a human body and to do it better, kind of, not as a punishment. It is not a punishment. They wanted to do it, and I said yes to help Alexander. His name is not Alexander now in this new body. So I know that I will meet him in his teenager, and they have chosen a family with a lot of suicidal parents and a lot of trauma, a lot of addiction, a lot of crime, kind of, and they live with a foster family. And even though they are kind of on the surface okay, they have a lot of stuff, but they think I'm crazy, so I'm not allowed to meet him. So yes, if someone say, oh, we adore you, but someone think I'm crazy because I speak about the raw reality. I have no filters. I have chosen to bring out the raw reality. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm talking about my life, that it is actually for me. So all this have informed me, because I know when I have said yes to make the new system, it is not that just me can make new system. This is not what I'm saying. I say that I know that a lot of others have said yes to bring the new system. Homo luminous, the new children that are born, they are the new system. They are inside themselves the new system. And how do you become a new system? Yes, you work from the inside out. You know that everything starts from within. Your surroundings mirror you. They are there for you, so you can work through how I'm created this. You create your own reality. All this craziness that I have created, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't even believe it in my wildest fantasy. I have created, not only me, the big universe and the big setup that we are living through, the illusion that we have set up, that it is really this body. Yes, it is. This reality that we say is the reality. We create it. So then we speak about soul contracts and what we have said yes to before incarnating in body. And I have said yes to do this because I'm trained in this, because all of us have soul gifts. The soul gifts I have in this life, I have had these soul gifts in all the future life and past life. So you have a gift in your life, and you have had that gift. You bring it through life, through life, through life, through life. Man, woman, wham, children, and you have different circumstances, and you also have different ancestor patterns. And even though your essence is the same, you are interested in something particular, but the environmental change. If you are in Africa, if you are in Norway, if you are in Australia, you know that your surroundings change, and also your surrounding affect your body. I have started the divine letters because I know that, and I speak to nation, because every nation where you live, it actually affects your life. It's not a coincidence that you live in Argentina, or you live in Africa, or you live in Gaza. So we choose deliberately, and I have chosen deliberately northern Norway, because here it is so fresh. It's like you are only 2-3 people there, if you put it kind of, because we are very few people here if you see big cities kind of. So we have big area, and it is cold. Yes, it is extreme, and my gift is the extremity. Even though I like it hot, the surroundings, and also particularly working from Lingen as I do, I have rented a house there. It is kind of, it is the womb of every creation. It is the 0 point. It is heaven on earth, because you are not in a big city, and being in a big city, you can feel it. And Homo Luminous children will feel it big time. So we actually need to listen to them, because they are the new system. And as I started to say, the new system know that everything works from the inside out. So our task is to start to listen to the soul, start to listen to our life. Why did the mafia threaten me? Why did this happen in my work? Why do I have that husband? Why do I have that all these children? Everything is talking to us 24/7. So life is for us. Every shit that I have experienced, because I have experienced a lot of shit, I just have to call it shit, is for me. So I am now at the point, and I know that in 2026, now it's just a couple of days, I have kind of go into the 2026 already. This is when I get out more of what I have said, more of this new system. And some of you know that I have made the Vinema Reset. It is a 13 module program. And I also have started 4 new modules. And one of them is the hero's journey, because I know that the hero's journey, when I went into it, that's when our ego die, when we kind of align with our soul. So the first is the hero's journey, and then after that it is the spiral of grace. Then you connect to your light. You kind of go into your you expand your light, you become Homo Luminous. And the third is the DNA detox and recapitulating. So you recapitulate, so your bone structure change. And I was kind of, what is happening to me? And if you have followed me, you know that I spoke a lot about what is happening with my teeth and what my bone, because my bone radically changed and my DNA has radically changed. And it is more light in my DNA. So I have activated the dormant DNA, what we have called junk DNA. This is what I have activated. And what it actually does, it is like, you know, you can connect to everything. I am unity in myself. I experience being a star in my body. I experience the aurora borealis. I experience the sun, the moon, the tree, the ants, the dogs, everything. We can experience everything. So you know that you are the all. So this is Homo Luminous, know that we are deliberate creators, and it is not we have spoken about life as very separately. It's like me against you, me against you. No, it's not against anything. It's like we are all in this together. We are all brothers and sisters. We will not create heaven on earth before everyone are in kind of in their essence, they have awakened. But it will take some years, but we are going there because collectively all humans have said it, even though a lot of people are pushing against it. And I also did it. And the last piece about surrendering, it can be hard, and because I have surrendered and I have surrendered, and when I thought I have surrendered enough, I had to surrender even more. And talking about this, I want to bring another element in it, because I also often speak about doing ceremonies. I invite other people to do ceremonies, like a big ceremony, many people in a ceremony. But what I have done most of all is private ceremony. Because when I go in private ceremony, I go out of this mental. It's like I leave my ego and let stars, universe take over, and a lot of Egyptian wisdom, Heather came through me, and a lot of what we call godness have come through me, informing me, using my body. But the hardest thing about doing ceremony, and I have become good now, but this was, it was challenge for me, and I know it will be for most people, because when I go into ceremony in the beginning, sometimes I use more than an hour to get out of my head, to go in hypnosis, so just to get out so that the bigger force can take over and I can feel it. So, and sometimes I gave up. It's like I sit there and it was like I was in the ceremony, but my mind interferes so much. So the hardest part about surrendering is that the mind has so kind of control of us, because it's so deprogrammed. So it's like you want to channel, you want to open, but the mind interfere. But it is like practicing everything else. It's like, so I have practiced a lot to let the mind kind of, okay, mind relax. And in the beginning, my body gets sick almost every time I decided I will do ceremony. I had to go to the bathroom several hours before ceremony, because the body, it felt like it was afraid, but it was actually preparing. But in my body, it felt like, oh, because I empty myself. My body empty itself because it was trying to, no, don't do it. So it felt like it was in what do you call it? Yeah, I don't know what to call it, but it was, my body gave a lot of symptoms that I don't like it. It's like, oh, I'm afraid. So it felt like afraidness. It was afraid, but it was actually preparing, because we don't have words, we don't have understanding, but it actually helped me to kind of trying to go out of this program. And in the beginning, as I said, I had some trouble, but I have become better and better and better. And I had a ceremony just a week ago, and the ceremony I do normally, it lasts for 2 hours, between 2 and 3 hours. I am in ceremony. So, and that's after the program have, when I have kind of stilled it. So after that, I'm normally 2 to 3 hours. And what I do when I am in ceremony, I record myself, because I put my ego so much, I'm not detached, so I just let everything come through me. And when I become Helder, when I become this force that can take over, I feel it, and I say on the video what I experience, and I talk it out, so I can listen to it when my sermon is over and I'm back in my programming. It's like, wow, because it comes so much. And I don't know how many hours I have with ceremony and deep wisdom. This is wisdom. This is not my mind saying because I have learned. So, and this is the information to bring the new system. So through this ceremony I bring in the new system. So that's why the 4 new model that I have made is come into form. And I want to give you one of the new wisdom that I have never seen it like that, even though I have felt it kind of. Because one of the biggest teachers I had when my ego fall was my dog Simba. I loved her. I really loved her. She mirrored all my body, what I was afraid, my afraidness. And when my ego collapsed, she became sick. She mirrored me all the time. And she was a healing dog. So I had her with me when I was working as a therapist, and she healed. So she also showed me my bigness. And I communicate with her now, and she's a part of me also. So, but what in this last ceremony, it was showing me that animals, and especially domestic animals like dog and cat especially, they are angels. We have spoken about angel like with wings and this thing, but actually one aspect of the angel energy is animals. We have chosen the animals, the domestic animals that come into our life, and they help us carry the stuff, the illness and all. And if you use this perspective to see, dog more than cats are carrying our things, and they have said yes to come into our life to mirror it back to us so that we can awaken. So if we have a dog or a cat or a pet, this is kind of a soul contract that wants to mirror back to us what we can work on, how we can awaken. So they are big time mirror, and it is sometimes easier to have animals as mirror than family, because my husband have been my mirror, my children is my mirror, and you love your family so much, and when they mirror hard things to you, it's kind of you feel it like they are hurting you, but they aren't. They are just mirroring the circuitry and the programming that you are not yet in balance in. So it can be easier when dogs mirror it, or cats, but they are angel because they actually help us to awaken. They are a part of us that carry the hardness on earth. So if you have a domestic animal, know that this is an angel in your life, and start to communicate with it. And I learned to communicate to animals through my dog Simba, and it is vibration, it is telepathically, but you can also speak with words because they sense your frequency. Animals is sometimes much smarter than us. They are more in tune to Mother Earth. They listen to Mother Earth more than we as human, because what we have done, we have moved away from divine flow, divine order. So bringing the new system, it is living in divine order. I now live in divine order, and divine order is the same as divine flow. So when I make this podcast, I just have an intention and I just start to speak, and then I go with the divine flow. And I know that life is for me, even the hard lessons. So if you want to take some lessons from this episode, know that everything that you meet is for you. But it will be beneficial if you know what you are for. Like my goddaughter, one of them, when she was 5-6 years old, she told her parents, I'm here for humanity. She have said yes to bring out Homo luminous. So she was one of the pioneers, because even though the biggest wave is from 2024 to 2033 of this Homo luminous, the new children, several came before. So, and it will come after, but it is a bigger wave, and it is because they will help us to change the system. And me saying yes to bring the new system, I will help parents, because I help a lot of parents these days because they don't understand their children, because their children function very different than them, because the parents are so programmed, and their children come with such a bright light, and they doesn't fit in none of the old system. So this is kind of, I see this as the biggest thing on earth, to kind of help parents and the new children, because they are the Homo luminous, they are the shift. And some of us, like me and several that I communicate with, Verle, Colin, and several others, have gone through the shift and hold the Homo luminous, and already live from heaven within. So since we are in harmony, when we are in harmony, I could be one of the kindergarten teacher, or a teacher at school for the new children, because I myself are in resonance. So the new teachers must do kind of the inward work, because otherwise we will harm the new children. They have carried the Christ consciousness, what we have called Christ consciousness. It is the same as homo luminous. So when we have said for several years we are waiting, some religion have said we are waiting for a savior. Well, the savior is thousands, if not millions, of new children. That's the saviors. So they don't come in one, they come in enormously. And we knew that one man tried to do it 2000 years ago, and he actually showed it, but most people didn't understand him. They couldn't understand how it was to live in the 5-dimensional reality. It's kind of seeing with, you see the structure behind, not only from the outside. It's like the separation between us and others. Now we know that everything is interconnected. So life goes much faster, and we see through. We don't see on the surface, we go deeper. So this period, 26, 27, 28, 29, a lot of shit will happen. And as I told my story about the mafia threatening me, so maybe this will happen in your life. Maybe you get sick, maybe you get a sickness, or maybe someone die. I cried for 10 months after my son committed suicide. So even though I communicated with him from the other side, and that was my biggest comfort, I cried. I had to go through the sadness, because I am also in physical life. So I have learned through everything, and I haven't bypassed it. So if you try to bypass it, you actually stop your divine flow, the energy. So we need to come in balance, in harmony, and start saying yes to life, and just to know that yes, life is for us, not against us. But it can also feel that we want to die. I felt so many times I wanted to die, but what actually want to die, it is the ego. It is being in the mind that wants to die. If you know someone that struggle with suicidal thoughts, this is the programmed mind. Because if you live from your heart, you don't want to commit suicide or you want to kill yourself. So that's the road from living in this program mind to come into the heart. So when I was a teenager, I want to commit suicide, and I lived in my head because I was trained. I had to be in my mind, because my surroundings said I had to protect, and I had so much protection. And living with protection, then you said, I don't want to live here, because it is so hard to live here, to be in the program mind, to defend. It's exhausting. And that's why I got sickness, so many sickness. I was fatigued big time. And the doctor said, you will die, because my body couldn't take it anymore. The body couldn't protect anymore. It had protected for 40 years, and now it's a... So yes, I started to die, but the dying process was the ego. So if you know someone that say, I'm thinking about that, don't be afraid. They say, okay, you want to die from the mind program. You want to start living from your heart, because start living from your heart, that's the 5-dimensional reality. That's the homo luminous. There's where the light come true. So I now live from the heart. I don't have a script when I talk, when I do things. I just let it come through me. I am an open portal. I am a portal because I let everything come through me. I am the homo luminous, the new human. And another term that was also given me the last sermon in it, we are galactic being. For several years when I transformed, it was like, I don't want to go into extraterrestrial and this galactic thing. I have enough with Mother Earth and all this life. But it comes a point when the earthly life kind of fuse with the galactic being of us. So being homo luminous is also, and the new human is also the same as being a galactic being. So I am a galactic being, and all of us have it inside of us because we have a galactic DNA. It is the dormant DNA that we haven't activated. It is actually galactic. So I won't go into it, but just know that when we talk about extraterrestrial and all of this, you have this dormant code in you that are from other star system. It is not only Earth. I wanted it only to be Earth for a period because it is so big. Yes, life is much bigger, and we cannot even imagine how big it is. It is infinite. And how big is that? It's kind of, you cannot measure it. So we are going from a literal way of life into a symbolic and into a spiral way of going. It's kind of the linear way, and now we are going into cyclical and also cyclical and spiral lives. So I have been, until 2013, I lived a linear life. It was like being birthed and kind of every day seeing the date and the clock and everything. And from 2013, it changed more and more. And then I started my spiral life. And living your spiral life, what this means, it's like you fuse past and future. You sense your future and you sense your past. Everything is happening in the here and now. So living as Homo luminous and galactic being, we know future and past, and we know that the only thing we can be is in the here and now, because we have a soul contract to experience this and this and this and that. And you can communicate with the people that have gone out of this body. Everything is here. You know that energy only change form. So as I said, my son Alexander, I will meet him in another form. He have chosen another body. So I will learn much newness through my son Alexander that have chosen another body when I meet him, and I will help him to kind of do his soul contract. And yes, life is for me. I know that everything is for me, and I live a privileged life because I live from heaven on earth. But the most difficult part, it is to change the perspective, go inward, and to know yourself, because we are in a period that we want to know ourselves. We are here to express ourselves, to bring out soul gift, and to create Ubuntu life. We are here to create Ubuntu life, because Ubuntu philosophy know that we are all together. What happens to you happens to me. We are all aspect of the same source, even though we are sparks of light of the same source. So this podcast was to give you some reflection. Now we are going into 2026, and what are you for, and how can you perceive life differently if you see catastrophe or pain or even deadly sickness? I will end with saying that I have a daughter that have for more than a year have a deadly sickness, and the doctor said they have not good prognosis, and she is still very ill. But this is also an initiation. She have very hard lesson. It is painful to see. All of us family are, we think it's hard to see that she really have so much pain. And I have connected to the higher self and also her path, and I know that she will have still some struggles, and it will start to balance out in summer 2026. And then she have been there for almost 2 years. So yes, it can be pain, but I know that her pain is for her. So that support me as a mother. I'm not hysteric like I was when my son Alexander had suicide. When he had cancer. He had cancer when he was 3 years in 1996. I was hysteric. I was so afraid. I cried, and I was so, And yes, I love my children, but I don't go to this state where I'm hysteric, because I'm not supporting them being hysteric. What children needs from us, even if they were sick, they need us to be in our light source. We as parents, the biggest, what we are invited into as parents, even in the midst of our crisis, if our child have very deep sickness, we need to stand in our light. We need to stand in our source, holding trust. this is the best we can do for our children, even though if they are healthy. So it's not only if they're, but especially if they are sick. We will help our children to heal if we ourselves as parents are in a good state. So yes, I have walked the path. I have been in the old paradigm, being hysteric, being afraid. And now I live with totally trust. I know that life is for us, even though it looks chaotic. And I know that a lot of people will die the coming year. And I also know that it will be more pandemic, and that the government will trick us, and that it is dark force there. So yes, we can know that there are some hidden agenda for most government. And I don't say it because I want you to fear it. I just say prepare, because you will meet fear if it is from the government, if it is from family, whatever. But really the old structure, the masculine, the dominating, the hierarchy, and all this manipulation, it is really intensifying, and it will affect us, but know that it is for you. What do you choose when the system and when everything kind of looks like it is trying to push you to your limits? Because this is what happened. I was pushed to the limits, and I know that this is the way for most of us. But remember, you can choose in every second to choose love, to choose that, okay, I know that this is for me, even though I don't understand. Because I also come to a place, I don't understand it, but I know it is for me. I just surrender. So if you just, okay, I surrender, I don't understand it completely of it, but I surrender. So just surrender. I know there's a plan behind it. Show me, and also say, show me. I don't understand it, but show me. Peace for peace plus peace. So even though you are not religious or whatever you believe in, just start to talk to yourself in a friendly way and say, I don't understand it, but show me. So to live with more and more trust. I live with 100% trust. I trust in life. I trust in everything that happens to me. And I know that life is for me. So with this word, I hope that you have some help when we go against 2026, 27, 28, because I know what I have gone to from 13 to 16 this 3 year. A lot of people will go to the 3 following years. So some of us went it beforehand, so we can say it. And if you know someone that looks like they are in deep shit, show them this video, because this is very helpful, so they understand that, okay, I will meet a lot of hard times, but it is for me. I am transforming, I am upgrading, I am becoming more light. So all the fear that I have embodied in myself, in my psychology, in my biology, it comes up so that I can release it and live as the new human. This is the invitation for all of us. And some one of us have it kind of seemingly harder than other, but we have chosen it. We have all the resources inside, even though it feels like we don't have, because I said I can't do it. I said it so many times, I cannot do it. But every time I activated new resources that I didn't know, because it felt like I cannot do it anymore. I felt so fatigued. I was like, more. So we have more power than we know. And it is really through the struggle and to these hard times that we learn that, wow, we are so much more than we have learned. We are God in physical form. You are God in physical form. So remember, when life feels heavy, know that you are God in physical form. And with those words, I wish you the best 2026, and know that life is happening for you. Namaste. Thank you for listening to the Divine Design podcast with Ann-Peggy Divine. Join us next Sunday for another Heaven on Earth unfolding conversation. With grace, reverence, and unity, may the path of your divine design light the way. from the divine in us to the divine in you.